Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Susie, the owner and creator here. I love to go thrift store shopping and make over the items that I sell in my vintage booth. In today's video, we are going to have 5 more thrift store makeovers. So let's go ahead and get started with today's project number 1. Y'all will have to excuse my voice. I have been a little under the weather this week and lost my voice completely. And this is the best I've got right now, other than not doing a voiceover. I just decided to go ahead and give it a shot. So I picked up this little frame, and my favorite thing about it was the little cross-stitch ducks in there. As you can see, that it's really old, but I love anything cross-stitch, so I'm going to see if I can save those. So I'm taking all of them out, and then I'm actually just going to run them through the washing machine to see if I can clean them up just a little bit. If it ruins them, I've got another plan, but hopefully they will be okay. Now, for the frame, I'm going to mix up a little bit of the Fusion Milk Paint in the color London Fog. This is just a soft beigey color, and milk paint is real easy to use. You just mix the same amount of paint with warm water and stir it, and I like to let mine sit just a little bit and get thick. And when I first started putting the first coat of paint on this, I thought this is never going to cover. But I kept going with it, and the second coat completely covered it really good. I did end up doing 3 coats. And when I use milk paint, I like to dry each coat with a heat gun. And that way it promotes the chipping and the crackle and all that good stuff that you get with milk paint. When the paint was good and dry, I took my little finger sander and I just heavily distressed this entire thing. I really wanted to bring back some of that dark wood tone from underneath and also really smooth out the paint really good. And chip milk paint can be quite unpredictable, but this one did chip a lot, which was exactly the look that I was going for on this project. Once I got it all sanded and really smooth and used a damp cloth to get all the rest of the dust off of it, then I'm going to take some clear wax and seal the entire frame. All of the Fusion products are available on my website, susieonthefarm.com. I have all the Fusion products as well as IOD and Roycycled Decoupage papers. The washing machine did a pretty decent job with our cross-stitch little ducks, so now we're just going to put them back on the backing that they were on, put them back in the frame, and then I'm going to cover the back of the frame with some craft paper and clean that up really good before this project is complete. this turned out really sweet. I love the vintage feel of the cross-stitch ducks and all the chippy milk paint. I think project number 2 is going to end up being my favorite. Anytime I find these home interior oval frames, I pick them up. I love the oval frames. I even like the gold on these. I don't know where these had been. I got them at a yard sale for $1 each. These had been stored somewhere and they were absolutely filthy. So the very first thing I do with all of my thrift store, yard sale, estate sale finds is make sure that they are all really clean. For this one, I used Crud Cutter, and then I actually took the frames to the sink and made sure that all the residue was rinsed off of them before I started painting. Now, the inspiration that I got for this comes in a wholesale catalog that I get from a wholesale company that I order a lot of my florals come from. And they have a lot of home decor too, but mostly I just use that for inspiration and to check up on the trends. And these are the ones that I definitely that have inspired me for this makeover. I do like the gold, but I wanted to just soften it up just a little bit. So I'm using some of the Fusion Metallic in the antique gold paint. This metallic paint has great coverage. I did end up doing 2 coats just to get it really smooth. And then for all of the mats, including the backing and the 2 mats that were on it, I'm going to give them all 2 coats of, actually I think I just had to do 1 coat of this chalk paint. I just used some of the Waverly ink because I had a big thing of it. I needed to use it, and I really wanted these to have a really matte finish on them, so I wanted to use a chalk paint. So I got all of the backings and the mats painted up, and I took them outside and spray sealed them with a clear matte sealer because I'm going to put a transfer on them. Now, I did want to imitate those birds that we saw on those frames in the catalog, and I remembered these really neutral looking birds from the Entomology transfer book. I've had this transfer book a really long time, and I've just never used all the pieces of it. So I got these 2 birds out, and at first I was just going to put 1 bird on each frame, but then I decided that the smaller bird wasn't quite enough to fill the frame, so I went ahead and got the other bird in there too, and I'm going to put 2 birds in one of the frame. For the next step, I am going to take some black wax and go over this gold paint on these frames. It's just going to highlight those details and then really richen up that gold paint just a little bit. All you need to do is take a wax brush and rub it on, and then a lint-free rag and buff it back off. Step is really not necessary if you like the look of the gold, which is very pretty. I just wanted to add a little bit more detail to it, and you can see the difference here in the waxed and the non-waxed. this next step, I really want you to do as I say and not as I do, because you really, really, really need to let your sealer dry a very long time. Unfortunately, I did not have a very long time and I thought it was dry enough, and I was wrong. So what will happen if your sealer's not completely dry is it will pull up the paint when you pull your transfer up. So that did happen on this one and the next one just a little bit. Thankfully, most of it happened where the mats are going to go on these frames anyway, so it is not going to show. But I did want to go ahead and show you guys that, just to warn you to be very careful. Make sure your paint or your sealer is very dry. In my defense, I am used to using Fusion all-in-one and not a chalk paint, so I knew better. I just didn't wait long enough. Now for the second one, you can see that it is much worse, and I did have to go back in and just touch up some black paint, and then I also used a little scrap pine cone from another transfer to cover up an area that pulled up the paint as well. But in the end, everything worked out on these. After I got the transfers on, I did seal them in with some clear wax because I really, like I said, I wanted to stick with that matte look. And when I put these back in these frames, y'all, they are so beautiful, and I like them even more than my inspiration pick, and I don't think I'm going to be able to part with them. I struggled on finding a good place to take the after photos of these, and I hung them up in my dining room, and I think that's exactly where they're going to stay for the time being. Project number 3 is a very simple makeover, but has a huge impact. So I got this jar at a yard sale. I think I paid 50 cents for it. It was handmade in the 70s. It's really well made. However, that paint job was just very, very unfortunate. The great thing about it, though, is it had all this amazing detail and all these pits in it that I really wanted to highlight. And immediately, my first thought was copper. So I'm going to paint 2 coats on this entire thing with the Fusion Metallics copper paint, and this covered so well, and the texture made it super easy to cover, and it looked really good just painted copper. But to really step it up a notch, we're going to use that black wax again over this. I knew all this detail would really pop with a wax. So once the paint is dry, I'm going to put some black wax all over the entire project and then wipe it back with a microfiber cloth or paper towel. Wipes all of it back except for the what sticks down into all those details. But first, before I do the black wax, I did go ahead and clear wax it just to give me a little bit more control over the black wax and make it easier to wipe back if it was too dark in some areas. Like I said, this project was really easy but had such a huge impact on this jar. I did also want to remind you that I have started an inspiration group over on Facebook. Girl, I need inspiration just like y'all do, and I want to see what you're creating, especially with the products that you've purchased from me. So go on over to Facebook and join the Susie on the Farm Inspiration Group and share your videos. If you have a YouTube channel, share your photos. We love to encourage and empower each other. That is what crafting is all about to me, is empowering each other. Most of us are women, but we are all a creative soul, and I just appreciate you guys and your input and your inspiration so much. So please go ahead over there and join me on my inspiration group. Okay, so maybe project 4 is going to be my favorite. I haven't decided on that yet either. I picked up this tray slash butcher block a while back. I think I paid $4 for it, but it's a really good piece of wood. I don't understand the holes whatsoever at all. It looks like somebody like manually put those in there, but I'm going to cover them up. But first, I'm going to go ahead and mix up some of wood putty and just fill them in just a little bit. They don't have to be perfect because we're actually going to put decoupage paper over this entire thing and it's not going to show. Wood putty is really easy to use. I like to use this Durham wood putty, and you just mix it with water until it gets to the consistency that you want. And then I just filled in the holes. I scraped as much of the excess back off as I could because this stuff dries rock hard, and you don't want to have to spend a lot of time sanding to get it smooth. Mason came down and he decided that he could do a better job than I could, so I let him have at it, and he got all these holes filled. Once they were dry, I did take it outside and sand off any of the excess. And I'm going to take Fusion in the color Cast Iron, and I'm going to paint the bottom and the sides of this board. This project could really be done on any piece of scrap wood. I just happen to have this tray handy, but I do have some scrap wood and I do have some more decoupage paper left over. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make up several of these. I have a feeling this is going to be a great seller. I did only do one coat on the back because I really like that wood grain showing through. And y'all, this is a new decoupage paper from Roycycled. This is the crate collage, and I'm just going to use a little corner of this. I love this paper. It's got all these different crates, and it's just really got an industrial feel to it, which is really cool. So I'm cutting this down just slightly bigger than my board, and to decoupage it, I'm going to use the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel. I love using this gel. It's kind of thick, and it really does a great job with decoupage. So the way I decoupage is I like to do a starter strip with my gel. And once I get my paper laid where I want it, and then I will mist my paper. To me, that just helps so much with the wrinkles, especially doing a bigger job like this. Wrinkles are a little bit harder to prevent than if you're doing a small one. So that misting just helps you be able to smooth out all those wrinkles a little bit better. And once you get that first paper started, it's real simple. I just do a little bit at a time, spreading down my decoupage medium. misting my paper, smoothing out the wrinkles until I get it completely. There is a few wrinkles in this, but this paper actually has wrinkles built into it as well, so you cannot tell, and to touch, it feels super smooth. So I let this project dry overnight before I did the next step, and once your decoupage paper is completely dry, I just take my little finger sander, and in a downward motion I am going to sand off all the excess paper. This is also going to distress the sides where I paint them black, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and distress all those edges while I'm sanding. And then to finish this up, I am going to clear coat the entire thing with a matte clear coat. I'm going to give it a couple of really good coats because this could be used for drinks or tray, as a tray. So I want it to be really durable. Again, I apologize for my voice in this video, y'all. I waited as long as I could. It's actually Wednesday morning before work when I'm doing this voiceover. So I waited till the very last minute that I possibly could to get this done so my voice would be somewhat better. I kept the handles that I took off of this project, but I really wanted to keep the more industrial look on this, and I had a bunch of these black handles, so I am going to go ahead and put them on there, and I'll show y'all a little trick for how to drill your holes that I like to use doing that as well. If y'all have noticed, but I am not, I don't measure very well. So anytime I have something like this that has to be precise, I like to take just a little bit of painter's tape, mark the holes with a Sharpie, and that makes it really easy to mark the holes on my project so I know that I'm getting them right the first time. love how this project turned out. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and make a few more of them because this thing really turned out amazing, and I know it's going to sell really well. For today's last project, it's a super simple one too, but I wanted to use up a bunch of my scrap decoupage paper, and I picked up these wood tags at Hobby Lobby. They were half off, so I think I paid $2.50 for these 12, and I'm just going to randomly decorate these up. I like to have some gift tags available for sale because you just never know. Most of the time people are actually buying gifts, and anything unique like this is what they are looking for. So I'm going to use some more of this beautiful spring master, or I think this is called spring masterboard. I'm sorry, this is available on my website. So I just played around with the placements and got a bunch of pieces cut out that I wanted to put on these tags. And I did remove all of those twine, jute twine. I think I'm going to use something else, and plus it was just kind of in the way. So like I said, I got a bunch of pieces cut out, and then I'm just going to decoupage all of this paper onto my tags. I also did a few with transfers, and then I had a couple pieces of scrapbook paper. So like I said, I'm just going to randomly decorate all these up, but my favorite is the one with this spring decoupage paper. So on these little tags, I just go ahead and do the whole thing at once. It's really easy not to have any wrinkles on a smaller project like this, especially if you remember to wet your paper, which sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. Once all of them were dry, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my little finger sander and sand off all the excess paper on each of the tags. And to finish these up, I am going to do another coat of sealer on top and put a new string in them. And for the ones here that I've just done the neutral ticking paper on here, I'm going to go ahead and take some scrap transfers and just decorate them up just a little bit with some florals and a few dragonflies. I'm just loving all of these different images, and it's just a fun way to really get creative with your decoupage paper. to thank you guys so much for watching my videos. And if you enjoy this kind of content and you're not already subscribed, please consider go ahead and hitting that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. I post videos every Wednesday night at 6. And let me know in the comments below which one of today's projects was your favorite. Every time you comment and like my videos, it helps YouTube know that you're enjoying it and just shares it out to other people that have the same interest as you and me. And I appreciate you guys doing that because it really helps my channel grow. That is all the projects that I have for this week's video. I hope that you have enjoyed these, and I will see you guys again next week.